Stephen A. Smith joins us now from Toronto. He's got a special guest. He's got the pride of Lausanne High School out there in Memphis, Marc Gasol with the Raptors. Stephen A., take it away.
What were you most concerned about? What were you most worried about, considering the way that y'all had lost those first two games?
Finishing possessions. I thought that, some stretches in game 1 and 2, we did a decent job defensively, but, we'll give up that offensive rebound, broken plays. So I thought that here we did a much better job of, taking away those easy baskets and continue to box out.
Talk to me about tonight, Game 4. Obviously, you won this game, tying the series. Kawhi Leonard clearly was not himself with that left leg injury. What was the mindset of the team? What were the kind of things you were telling each other that you needed to do with him clearly not being 100%?
Kawhi is always a trigger. Either he shoots it or he can create offense no matter what, because they pay obviously so much attention. He's a trigger for everyone else. So whatever movement he does opens up somebody else. So whenever he's in the court, he don't have to always score, but he's going to make somebody open.
Talk to me about Kyle Lowry. Kyle Lowry had 25 points in Game 4. Obviously, he had a big-time game in Game 1, but y'all lost that game. Tonight, he showed up again. What about the way he's been playing?
He's been playing great on both ends of the floor. He's a guy that continues to play, make the extra play defensively. He's more than willing to sacrifice his body for the team, and offensively, when he's aggressive like that, it makes us so much better.
Specifically, what have you guys been doing to neutralize the Greek Freak? I know he had 25 and 10 tonight. Obviously, in Game 3, wasn't so great at all. Only had 12 points in that game, but he clearly is not the same player that he was in Games 1 and 2. What have you guys been doing that's been working against him so effectively?
I think we're picking up a little higher. So when he goes to his move, it's a little far away from the basket, farther away from the basket. So that helps trigger the help defense. So I think we're doing a better job on that. We put Kawhi on him a little bit more. He's a pretty good defender.
What do you need to do in Game 5 to win Game 5 at Milwaukee?
Continue to obviously to have that same energy that we had on Game 3 and 4, the same mindset as far as offense goes. Be disciplined defensively, have that willing mindset of helping each other and taking the next step, and scramble and try to win the game.
Marc Gasol, Stephen A. Smith, Michael Eaves, I'm doing your job. Back to you, man.
All right, well, let me allow you to do your job real quick. You can thank Marc here. Let me ask you this from your perspective, Stephen A. Marc gave some good insight there in terms of their better execution, trying to be a little more efficient on offense. Right. But from a mental standpoint, based on what we just saw in this game, who was affected more going back to Milwaukee for Game 5? The Bucks, who thought maybe they could sweep this series, or the Raptors, who now feel like they're right back in it?
Well, I think if you're the Raptors, you feel you're right back in it. But I think when you ask the question about who's been affected most dramatically, I think it's Milwaukee. It's not just because they lost Games 3 and 4. It's how they lost. After winning Games 1 and 2, I thought this series was over. I'm like, there's no way in hell that Toronto's going to come back. They looked undersized. They looked undermanned. You have Milwaukee hitting perimeter shots. And you know what? They really didn't have any answer because it was pretty much Kawhi Leonard and then everybody else. But watching Game 4 specifically tonight, right here, let me tell you something that I've noticed. Whether it's Brooks Lopez, whether it's Ilyasova, whether it's him, Lopez, or whomever, Mirotic as well, when they are guarding anybody on Toronto forces a switch, and then they put them in situations where it's against somebody that can put the ball on the floor, and they can't guard these guys. As a result, it's a mismatch in favor of Toronto. It's made their offense that much more effective, and I think that's what's been putting Milwaukee on its heels. What we're seeing is a bunch of individuals on Milwaukee outside of the Greek Freak that's devoid of the level of athleticism you would hope. They can hit perimeter shots. They definitely can make open shots. But when you get up and guard them, make them put the ball on the floor, make them make plays, they struggle offensively, and defensively, they struggle to guard folks in the open floor. Toronto has noticed that. They've utilized it to their effectiveness. They've taken advantage of it, and that's why this series is tied.